Or how do you feel like you get out of that bubble to make somebody a real boxer?
I mean, what he's doing is, I mean, kind of cool. If he can continue to steal money and they match him the way they match him, I can't knock his hustle. So if they can match him the way how they've been matching him.
I haven't seen Gervonta Davis in another sexual assault allegation, lawsuits incoming, potentially criminal charges levied. We don't know yet, but we know that fight is up in the air, and I think that fight's not going to happen, and they're going to either have to move the fight back or they're going to have to look to a replacement or both. I don't know.
This fight is still technically scheduled for November 14th to air on Netflix, but it's basically hanging on by a thread. But the team, Jake Paul's team, have reportedly gone and contacted all the fighters, and the names that they're looking at contacting to fight as a late replacement.
Floyd Mayweather has stirred up the boxing world once more, publicly challenging Jake Paul after Gervonta "Tank" Davis's upcoming fight was canceled due to Davis's legal complications. Mayweather stated that he's willing to step in and face Jake Paul, and this time, he insists it would be an official professional bout rather than an exhibition. He also made it clear that he won't be jumping to a higher weight class, suggesting that any potential matchup would follow standard competitive rules. The announcement has created a surge of excitement among fans, many of whom are curious whether Mayweather is seriously considering a true return to the ring.
Down some, but at the time, people badly wanted you and Jake Paul to fight. Is he someone you're interested in or no?
Well, you know, if you go back, you got to do your homework, look on the internet. I think he was doing a sit down on a podcast one time, and he talked about it. He said, I don't want to do an exhibition against Floyd Mayweather.
Yeah.
He said, I'm only doing real fights. And of course, I can't get up high in weight, but I'll fight him in a real fight at the weight that I'm at. But Jake Paul, I mean, as of right now, for what he's doing, it's good for what he's doing. But once he fights a real fighter, it's going to be bad.
Have you been impressed?
But one thing I like about him, one thing I do like about him, he's selling it. He's selling it, and he's making good money. And
due to the lawsuit and the investigation connected to it, Gervonta Davis's much-anticipated exhibition bout with Jake Paul has been called off. Most Valuable Promotions, which represents Paul, released a statement saying they're reviewing the situation and have chosen not to move forward with the event under the current circumstances.
You know the situation. It was supposed to be boxing Gervonta "Tank" Davis, a man that weighs 133 pounds or 135. Regardless, it's a man that is way smaller than Jake Paul. So that is just ridiculous, and I'm giving my thoughts on that before anyway. But now it turns out that Gervonta Davis has some allegations about domestic abuse. I don't know too much about the situation, but apparently Netflix have pulled the plug on that fight. It says, here's a tweet I'm reading from Mike Coppinger. As reported, Jake Paul's return could shift to December, with the November 14th Netflix exhibition in jeopardy due to the latest allegations against Gervonta Davis. Sources tell Ring Magazine that December 12th and the 19th are possible.
Davis is currently facing a civil lawsuit brought by his former girlfriend, Courtney Rosal, stemming from an alleged incident on October 27th at the Miami nightclub, where she is employed. In her complaint, Rosal accuses Davis of multiple offenses, including battery, aggravated battery, false imprisonment, kidnapping, and intentional infliction of emotional distress. The filing states that Davis allegedly dragged and assaulted her in several parts of the venue, such as a stairwell, the kitchen area, and the parking garage. Authorities in Miami Gardens have confirmed that a criminal investigation is underway alongside the civil suit.
Baltimore boxing champion Gervonta "Tank" Davis faces new abuse claims from a woman who claims to be his ex-girlfriend. This is according to our media partner, the Baltimore Banner. Courtney Russell says she dated Davis for 5 months and recently filed a civil lawsuit accusing him of aggravated battery, false imprisonment, and other offenses. She claims Davis physically attacked her a number of times during their relationship. Russell claims the most recent incident was Monday at a Miami nightclub. Davis is scheduled to fight Jake Paul in Miami on
Chael Sonnen has stepped into the discussion surrounding the possible cancellation of the Jake Paul versus Gervonta "Tank" Davis matchup, saying he went directly to both sides to get clarity. Sonnen explained that he contacted people within Jake Paul's camp, as well as members of Davis's team, to verify whether the rumors were true. However, neither group offered him a clear answer. Their refusal to comment, he noted, only fueled speculation that something serious was unfolding behind the scenes. According to Sonnen, when both fighters avoid outright denying cancellation talk, it often signals that the issue goes beyond simple scheduling, possibly involving legal troubles or deeper promotional complications.
Tank has one job to do, which is to let anybody know that's listening that it doesn't make any difference, that boxing is a real sport. My skills versus your skills, of which I have an abundance of and of which you have none of. My life's commitment and dedication versus a second or third or fourth thought in the world of priority on your list. And I used to believe those things. Now, I go back far enough in MMA that I've had my eyes open a number of times. The fact that karate was so incredibly useless, or the fact that Jeet Kune Do was so incredibly useless, like these were not things that I would have bet on when I was in high school. As a wrestler at that time, I would not have assumed that I would fare well in a fight against somebody that knew Kung Fu. We had all been falsely led through Hollywood. Not through competition, not through sport, not through understanding of the game, but just through Hollywood. We were told that those guys were the most dangerous guys. So, we then eventually get up to Conor McGregor versus Floyd Mayweather, which had a weight discrepancy, but it was very small. I mean, I watched him weigh in. I want to say it was like 8.
With Gervonta Tank Davis's fight now uncertain, Floyd Mayweather has publicly called out Jake Paul. Mayweather has been candid about his view of Paul's boxing skills. While he recognizes Paul's success in the crossover arena and finds him entertaining, he stops short of labeling him a true professional boxer. Mayweather has suggested that a fight against Paul would be relatively easy, implying that Paul wouldn't pose a serious challenge to an elite fighter of his level. He also emphasized that, although Paul has carved out a profitable niche, facing a world-class opponent would likely highlight gaps in his training, technique, and overall experience in competitive boxing.
There are many people who believe you're the most talented fighter ever, period. So whatever you say to this question, I think is important. Are you impressed? Does he have boxing ability, or is he just an entertainer who has a lot of fans and can promote a fight and has fought lesser opponents? Or is he actually talented?
As long as he continues to fight MMA guys and YouTubers, he's gonna continue to look good and shine. But once he fights a real fighter, a real fighter that can really fight, it's not gonna be that good.
Does he have the ability, with what you've seen, to continue to mold himself into somebody who can actually? He told me before his goal is to fight Canelo, so that's where his mindset's at.
Mayweather's hesitation to grant rematches has left fans wondering about the what-ifs in his career. In contrast, Jake Paul has frequently faced opponents who are either well past their prime or significantly smaller than him. Mayweather has acknowledged Paul's entertainment value, but has also cautioned about the level of his competition. He suggested that when Paul faces a true professional boxer, the matchup could reveal the gaps in his skills and experience.
The second question is just with like Logan Paul and then Jake Paul now fighting Mike soon in the summer. What do you think defines a real boxer? Because I feel like people are still confused on if Jake Paul is a YouTuber boxer or a real boxer. How do you feel like you get out of that bubble to make somebody a real boxer?
What he's doing is, I mean, kind of cool. If he can continue to steal money and they match him the way they match him, I can't knock his hustle. So if they can match him the way how they've been matching him.
Many fighters and analysts admire Floyd Mayweather not only for his speed and defensive skills, but also for his mindset. They argue that his true strength came from an unshakable self-confidence, the belief that he could overcome any opponent. Tony Jeff, for instance, has highlighted how Mayweather's mental edge often let him dictate the flow of a fight even before stepping into the ring.
Mindset, they're really confident, they really believe in themselves, but you need more than that mindset. You need to have the full package of everything that I'm talking about, what Floyd has got.
Fighters should only want to get better. The more you win, the more you should work hard. If you think about losing, you're going to lose. All I ever thought about was winning. So that's all I know.
Floyd would visualize his success before he even stepped into the ring. There was no alternative to him but winning. And this mindset isn't just for boxing, it's for all walks of life. And I've actually done a full video talking about how I used this mindset of visualization to win my Olympic medal. And it was an absolute game changer. Now, Floyd used to use this mindset to ease the pressure that he put himself under. And he made himself think like, I'm not under any pressure right now, where he was under immense pressure.
Pressure either makes you or break you. Well, you see where I'm at, so it's obvious that I'm the type of athlete or I'm the type of entertainer that can deal with pressure. There's never no pressure.
Now, if you watch his fight in 2013 when he fought Canelo Alvarez, Canelo came in a young, strong, undefeated fighter, but by round 2, Floyd kind of had him figured out. He was reading Canelo's jab. He would slip outside and then come back with a clean counter punch, then move his feet and get out of the way. He basically had the full fight under control, and he was controlling the full rhythm of the fight. He was forcing Canelo to fight at his pace. And this is what he would do in all of his fights. He would get his opponent to do what he wanted them to do without their opponent even realizing it, which is what we call boxing IQ. Now, even though I'm not a fan of Floyd Mayweather personally, because of the time when I did meet him, what he said to me made me just feel like this guy is a piece of shit. And
recent reports suggest that Floyd Mayweather may be eyeing a fight with Mike Tyson, and analysts see this as more than just a financial move. Many interpret it as Floyd's way of proving he can still command attention long after retirement. With the spotlight on the Davis versus Paul matchup, Mayweather appears unwilling to let anyone, even his own protege, steal the headlines. Observers describe this as classic Floyd, driven by attention, competition, and legacy. While Davis and Paul prepare for their own event, Mayweather's potential bout underscores a broader pattern: the ongoing effort by boxing legends to maintain relevance in a rapidly evolving sports world.
So many celebrities and so many people that are known where you can get somebody and they can sell tickets to events. That's what kicked off the social media influence boxing that Jake Paul was birthed from. Now we're in a vacuum. And so there's going to be a lot of conversation about that and continuing to do that. In this particular video, though, I want to get into the mind of Floyd Mayweather Jr. and why Floyd Mayweather Jr. would do this. There is the money, but there's also the competitive nature of Floyd Mayweather Jr. and him not wanting to have other people think that they're a bigger star than he is. Floyd Mayweather Jr. has not been able to really launch his star outside of the sport of boxing, so he continues to do exhibitions. Now, what I think is that Floyd Mayweather Jr. is announced it at this point in time with Mike Tyson in order to take advantage of the publicity heading into the Gervonta Davis, Jake Paul fight, which is, I do believe, set for November. So now that they have all the publicity and all that stuff coming out from that, he's going to piggyback on it and then try to have it in the beginning of next year sometime and actually make it a bigger event than Gervonta versus Jake Paul. And it probably will be. And the reason that I say that is because of Mike Tyson. Mike Tyson is bigger than Floyd. Let me say Mike Tyson. I think Mike Tyson is bigger than Floyd Mayweather. I still think his name is bigger than Floyd Mayweather, even though I know Floyd has made more money in the pay-per-views. And I think that had a lot to do with, again, social media area and otherwise. But the combination of Floyd Mayweather Jr. and Mike Tyson and the question about
multiple reports indicate that Jake Paul's promotional team is actively exploring replacement options following the uncertainty surrounding Gervonta Davis's upcoming fight due to legal issues. Among the potential candidates, Terrence Crawford's name has emerged as a possible opponent, generating significant buzz. While various names have been mentioned in recent discussions, nothing has been officially confirmed. Crawford's elite status in boxing would instantly elevate the stakes and credibility of the matchup, though no formal agreement has been made and talks appear to be in very early, speculative stages. Even so, the mere possibility of Crawford stepping in has captured fan attention, suggesting that Paul's team may be considering a more serious, high-profile challenge.
It's still technically scheduled for November 14th to air on Netflix, but it's basically hanging on by a thread. But the team, Jake Paul's team, have reportedly gone and contacted all the fighters, and the names that they're looking at contacting to fight as a late replacement: Ryan Garcia, Terence Crawford, Francis Ngannou, I mean, come on, we'll get into them, and Nate Diaz. So he's already fought Nate Diaz, but let's go through them one by one. I mean, Ryan Garcia, he's a similar size to Gervonta Davis. He's bigger though. Davis made him come down, didn't he? Then he beat him up. So that was Ryan Garcia. Quite a bad loss for Garcia, that was, because he was up for the fight, but Gervonta Davis beat Garcia. Garcia also isn't really big enough to be jumping in with Jake Paul, but that's a fight that potentially could happen. Garcia is a massive name. He's a big he's a social media star. He's a big public figure. Loads of followers on Instagram and social. I mean, his Instagram's over 1 million, I'm sure it is. He's just a big name, good looking kid, great fighter, fast stands, and he's quite controversial as well. So that'd be a good fight, but the weight disparity, again, it's too big. So for me, when I say it'd be a good fight, it'd be interesting to see how Ryan Garcia would go in against Jake Paul, but to be honest, Jake Paul's far too big for him. Who else we've got? Terence Crawford. I can't see Terence Crawford entertained in this, but then you never know, do you? If the old bunts make sense, then it makes people do strange things. And Terence Crawford's getting on now. What is he, 37, 38 years old? Had a great win against Canelo. Would he jump in with Jake Paul for mega money? Probably. He'd paced him as well. I mean, Terence Crawford would be too much for Jake Paul, even though he's up at 168 in his last fight, super middleweight, my old weight division. So I don't think Jake Paul would fight him. Francis Ngannou, I mean, why even chuck Ngannou in the mix? Ngannou would just hammer him. He's too big. I mean, he talked about Anthony Joshua. That never happened, did it? It's a load of bollocks. He talked about fighting AJ, then announced he's fighting someone the size of one of AJ's legs in Gervonta Davis. So for me, that's nothing. And the Nate Diaz fight, he's already fought him. It was a rubbish fight, and
Critics have long questioned the matchup between Jake Paul and Gervonta Davis. Veteran fighter Carl Froch has been particularly vocal, dismissing the proposed fight as largely meaningless. He points out that Paul's boxing credentials are limited compared to Davis's clear advantage in skill and experience. Froch views Paul more as an entertainer than a serious contender and argues that the bout won't satisfy true boxing purists. For him, the issue isn't just about who might win. It's whether the fight deserves to be regarded as a legitimate clash between elite professionals.
Joke, absolute clown world. Really fitting for fake Paul, the clown, because it's a clown show. You're putting him in with somebody who's 100 pounds lighter. I mentioned the weight disparity before. Getting on for 7 stone. It's a weight-governed sport. It should not be happening. He's too small, Gervonta Davis, against the big Jake Paul, who's in the gym a lot, training. Apparently he's fit and strong and he has a go and he can fight a little bit, which I disagree with because I don't think he can. He might be able to fight a little bit. He certainly can't box. But these allegations against Gervonta Davis, they're very serious allegations. Anybody that's laying hands on women needs to be shut down straight away. For me, they need to be locked up and the key thrown away.
Amir Khan criticized the matchup, labeling it a severe mismatch. He slammed the promoters for greenlighting what he described as a dangerous scenario, arguing that putting someone in harm's way isn't fair to Davis. With Paul reportedly weighing over 200 pounds and Davis having never competed above roughly 140 pounds, Khan called the fight both risky and exploitative. He also questioned whether Davis is simply looking to make a payday before stepping away from the sport.